why is international education important? What's the big deal about international education? Let me start by saying it affects your today, it affects your tomorrow, it affects your future. That's the truth. If you ask anyone who has had the privilege, whether they stayed back or they didn't stay back after study, it's a different matter, but it definitely changes your life. So globalization is one advantage, because when you step out of your country to study abroad, you end up in the same class with people from everywhere, people from all walks of life. You end up with neighbors you never ordinarily would have had anything to do with. You make friends from the other part of the world that you ordinarily wouldn't have met. And then you see things differently. You see things with a more global view. Your plans become bigger, your reasoning become bigger, and your association becomes bigger. And because of international education, your opportunities also increase. So it's an opportunity for equality and equity in the things that happens to all men. The fact that you went abroad can change what opportunities are available to you, and that could be a game changer in your life. Mutual respect is another advantage that you get when you study abroad. Think about it. When maybe after your study, later in life, wherever you find yourself, you meet people who, let's say you have studied in the UK, and then you meet other people who are maybe they are natives, or they also studied there, and then you get talking, and then you're like, oh, I was in London at this time, and they say, oh, which place? I also studied there. So that's the kind of, and the respect you get changes because of that. It's just human. It's just human. So those are the reasons. And then, you also have opportunity for exchange of ideas, for collaborations, for building your network. Sometimes some of the things that I do today, I'm able to do them because of the people that I met when I studied abroad. Many of the friends that I made who were also studying today are the people that I collaborate with when I need to. And sometimes I tell people, okay, to an extent, by virtue of the fact that I studied abroad, I could conveniently say I know someone, at least someone, in any nation of the world. And that's what happens when you have the opportunity of going abroad to study. While you are there, you are not just sitting down in your bedroom and going from the bedroom to the classroom and back to your bedroom. No, that's not the kind of studying abroad that I mean. I mean where you explore the opportunities that are open to you. You make the best of them, and you can always leverage them in the future for whatever reasons, either to build your business or to immigrate or to collaborate on research or even for your children. So there are so many opportunities that comes with studying abroad that we can't really exhaust them here. So for today, for tomorrow, for the future, there is something to gain. Then there are a few factors and figures that I feel will be useful for you to help you, motivate you, and think about what is on ground. So this is just the data up till 2021 for Nigerian students abroad. So as you can see there, between 2014 to 2021, there's a slight growth in number of students going to Canada to study, as you can see from the red they call it line there. So that's Canada. And then the darker blue is for USA, while the lighter blue is for the UK. So there was a drop because there was a higher number going to the UK between around 2014. It started dropping from 2014, 2015 session until it was about the same thing with Canada and the US around 2017 and 2018. But then it picked up again in 2019, and today it's much higher than US and Canada, as you can see from there. By 2021, it has already shot up like almost double of the number of students that go to the UK, I'm sorry, to the US and Canada. But then another fact that you can see here is when you look at the figure for 2021, you see that I think US right there is about 10,000. UK is also about 10, sorry, Canada is also about 10,000. That's 20,000 plus about 22,000 or so for the UK. So we are looking at about almost 45,000 Nigerian students in just 1 year, 2021. It can be your turn next. That's what it means. Also, for between January and September 2021, about 50% of students, Nigerian students who applied for Canadian study permits got it. And these are students who are under 19 or 19 and 19 and under. The reason why I'm presenting this is because I know you must have heard about people not getting visa. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on. But this is half of the people who applied got their study permit. Age plays a factor there, but that is not to say if you are old, you cannot. That's the reason why we try to do the things that we do. In the US, growth rate of students from Nigeria has been the highest of every country in the last 7 years in 7 years of the last 8 years. So Nigerians are the ones that are going more for international education to the US than any other country. And for UK, the number of students going to the UK to study from Nigeria has doubled between 2018, 2019 and 2020, 2021. Other than that, the leading field of study for Nigerian students in Canada has been business and management. In the UK, it has been business and management as well, whereas in the US, it has been STEM, engineering, the sciences, technology fields. That's where most of Nigerian students who are studying in the US, that's where they come from. Okay, so let's move on to how you should study, where you should study, and what you should study. That's a whole lot of information packed together in a single question, because where, what, and how, I'll address them one after the other. But before we go in, this is some useful information that can help you to think about different countries. I've only mentioned these 3 countries because they are top on the list of places where Nigerians want to go now. But this is not to say this is or anywhere. This is the only places you can go. No, this is definitely not the only places you can go. We are covering about 26 countries. You can go to any one of them. You can also go to a country that we are not covering, only that it's going to cost you more. So quality of life is great, is good, is excellent in all these places. And tuition, of course, is high. And it's, I'll say, very high in the UK because the currency is stronger. Living cost is high in all of them. And then immigration opportunities are also great in all these countries. And I think it might be a little bit better for maybe Australia and Canada because they have special programs. But in recent times, UK has also introduced some special programs. So it might be just equal opportunities in all these 3 places. You can add the US to that, although the immigration opportunities in the US are not as diverse and as much as you have in all these 3 places. And then language, of course, language is okay because all 3 are English speaking, but you have an additional French speaking nation there in Canada. So if you are a French speaker, then your opportunities doubles in Canada. Weather is okay. Of course, it's not what you experience or what you have experienced living in Nigeria. So it's harsh. There is winter. It's mild in the UK, but it's harsh in Canada and some parts of Australia. There are some parts of Australia where you are okay with the weather. Tax system is something that will also be important for you because when you work in those countries, it's not like home where nobody asks you for tax, but over there, you really pay tax and it can be really high. As you can see there, The lowest one is in Australia, which is about 28.5% of your income. It's much higher, 31, that's almost 32 in Canada, and about almost 35 in the UK. So somehow you feel like, wow, almost a third of whatever you work for goes out there. But that's why the system is working. That's why they are able to provide good roads, provide power, provide healthcare and everything for everyone. So the education system is research-based in Australia, and it's much more academic-based in the UK. In Canada, it's a mixture of both. It depends on what you want, and major universities there in Canada are publicly funded. The healthcare system is also publicly funded. Most things, general services are publicly funded in Canada. Okay, so talking about where, I'll say it depends on your focus. What's your plan? What do you want to do? Why are you going abroad? Is it just to study? If it's just to study, then it's okay. Anywhere that is affordable will do. But if you are thinking, oh, I would like to be able to stay back and work and probably get a PR or become a citizen, then that becomes a whole different thing. So your focus is what determines where you should study and what you should study. How much money do you have? That's another factor in deciding where to study. Because when we start talking about, say, you want to go and study in maybe a small nation where the currency is not too strong, and then you are able to get maybe in a year, your tuition is not more than 2 million naira, so to say. But then you are thinking about going to Canada or going to the US or going to UK, then you're going to be talking about something in the neighborhood of 6 million naira, 7 million naira. That's the idea. So how much money do you have, and how much are you willing to spend on studying abroad? Those are all factors that determine where you should be considering going. What's your profession could also help you determine where you should go. There are countries that have no regard for certain professions. And in many of these countries, your profession matters a lot. For example, if you are in the medical profession, UK will be a great place for you. If you are a tech person, US will be a nice place for you. If you are in management, Canada will be a good place for you. So all of these are factors that are important for you to consider when you are making a decision. And then I know this is a big one for most international students. Are you able to work and study at the same time? It's not in every country that that's possible. So if that's a goal for you, if you are going to be sponsoring yourself or you need to make money while studying, then you need to consider where you should be studying very, very well. It has to be a place where these opportunities are available, because if you miss it, then it's going to be an issue. How should you study? Now, there are different kinds of programs. If you are an undergraduate student, you just want to go and do your bachelor's, of course, your program will be taught. So there are what we call taught programs. That means you take courses, you go to classes, you attend lectures, you do assignments, you do projects and all that. And then you write exams and you get your result. That's the basic thing for undergraduate programs. But when you are doing a postgraduate program, then it's also important for you to think of whether you want a taught program or you want to go for a research program, because these are different things for you. For many people, because we usually don't emphasize this back home, many people are not aware that even right in Nigeria, you could opt for a full research program for your master's, or you can decide to combine the two. This is what we call the mixed mode. So the mixed mode program is the one that combines the taught part and the research part. It's more intensive, but it gives you a combination of the opportunities you have by attending either into a taught program or to a research program, because you have both in your course of study. So it depends on you. If you are going for an undergraduate program, of course, it has to be taught. If you are going for a master's program, you have to decide which of these three options you wish to go for. And I'll say, if your intention for the future, either the farthest or the nearest future, is to for further studies, like maybe you're going to want to consider a PhD, then either a full research program or a mixed mode is your best option. Okay, so let's talk about money. Average cost of studying in any one of these countries. Like right there, you see that I have tuition, 7,000 to 35,000 with terms and conditions, and living expenses goes around 8,000 to 17,000. Now, I didn't put any figure at the back because this is general, and whichever country you have plans to go, just take the currency and put at the back of these figures. So you're going to the UK, put the pound sterling behind these figures. You're going to the US, put the US dollars behind. You want to go to Canada, put Canadian dollar, Australia, Australian dollar, just like that. So, but then you also see that this is a very, very wide margin. So now, the point here that I would like you to notice, it is possible to get something below even the lowest value here. What I mean is, you can get something lower than 7,000, but they are very, very few, very, very few opportunities that are restricted to certain fields. So it's not a general thing that everyone can take advantage of. So this will be like the lowest possible on the general note. Living expenses, I always say, exact value, because you can, this is yearly cost. This is not monthly. This is yearly. So in a year, let's say, we're saying your living cost is about 8,000 US dollars, for example. What it means is that 8,000 over 12 will be the idea of your monthly expenses that will take care of feeding, accommodation, transportation, and any other thing that you need to spend some money on. It is possible to even spend far less than that. It depends on you. It's a function of how you are able to manage yourself, if you are willing to share things with others, and the sacrifices you are willing to make on behalf of your own future. That's what matters. Then for tuition, like I said, STEM and postgraduate courses, they are a little bit more expensive than management courses on a general note. But it's not all the time. Sometimes the business courses or management courses are even more expensive than some of the STEM courses. These values vary a lot across universities, across provinces or states, wherever, whichever country you are studying at. So it matters. It's just for you to have an idea of what you should be thinking of, because a lot of times people will call me and say, please, I just want you to give me an idea of how much I should be thinking of when in terms of cost if I'm going abroad. I will say, think in terms of tuition about 12,000, and think in terms of living expenses about 10,000. So think of about $22,000 or 22,000 pounds sterling, Canadian dollar, or US dollars. Think of that for planning. If you don't use all of that, it's still okay. But what if you're going to need up to that? So there are so many factors that come in as we continue to talk. So exact value is a function of the course you're studying, the program you're studying, the institution you're studying at, the location, that's a province or state, or whether it's in a city or a town. So all of these are factors that you need to consider to determine on the exact figure. Okay, so let's talk about proof of fund, because we're still talking about funding. Yeah, this is a very important information for anyone thinking of going abroad. This is the basic. 1 year tuition plus 1 year living expenses. There are no two ways about it. When you go for your visa interview, this is the first point where you either fail your visa interview or you pass. This is the first point where they give you approval or they don't give you. Your tuition for 1 year is $15,000. Your living expenses for 1 year is $10,000. That is $25,000 together. That is the total amount that should be saved up in your bank account or in the bank account of your sponsor for a period of 3 to 6 months. 3 months for the US, 4 months for Canada, 1 month for UK, 6 months for Malaysia. That's the idea of what you need. So some of the countries are more relaxed than others. But on a general note, especially if you are going to any of the big five, UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, then this we hope they are not going to compromise. Your account holder should have a clear relationship with you. That's another point that you must know. Don't just go and get somebody somewhere who has money and say this is the person that is sponsoring me. And this person is not related to you in any way. Usually, the immigration officer expects that you should answer the same name as your sponsor. For example, maybe your father or your mother or maybe your uncle. If it's your auntie, of course, you should be able to have documents to prove your relationship. That means her maiden name should be similar to yours or something like that. But in a situation where this is not the case for you, maybe your sponsor is not someone who is related to you by blood, maybe someone who adopted you or someone who just wants to help you, then the person will be ready to also provide some documentations to back this up, or else the immigration officer just take a look at your documents and feel like this scammer, and they just put it by the side. Another thing is, as a wife, your husband can sponsor you, be your sponsor. As a husband, your wife can be your sponsor. As your sibling can be your sponsor, all of that. So as long as there is a clear establishment of a relationship, then you have something going for you. Now think about it this way. Let's assume that I have the money and I just decide that I'm going to help you and I'm going to give you my bank statement for you to do it. What's my relationship with you? Nothing. So when you apply for visa, the immigration officer is wondering, what's your relationship with this person? I say, there's actually no relationship. Then on what ground am I trying to provide 10 million naira to sponsor your education? You and I know that people don't do that. So that's the same way the immigration officer reasons and decides on your application. So for successful visa application, let your proof of fund be sound. After you have put the 1 year living expenses and 1 year tuition there, put a little on top and continue to run that account. Continue to allow other money to go in and go out while that fixed amount remains there. But let that account be active. Then other things that you need is proof of tie to your homeland. If you are the one sponsoring yourself, for example, then you need to show that you are going to come back. How do you show that? Maybe you are working, you ask your employer to give you a study leave document. Maybe you are on scholarship, then you have a scholarship document that says you have to return back to your country. And or if you have some proof of asset, like you have landed properties, real estate, other types of real estate and all that. You have documents, maybe, what do they call that? The document you get from the government that you own a piece of land. All of those kind of documents are important documents that you can add as proof of tie to homeland. Your travel history also play an important role in your tie to homeland. How does that work for you? Maybe about 10 years ago, you went to the US, you were given a 6-month visa and you spent 2 weeks or 3 weeks and you went back home. And then maybe a few years after that, you went to the UK and you went back home after your stay. You also went you have been to a number of places and then you went back to your country. It shows the immigration officer that whenever you have the opportunity of leaving your country, you go back. And so this time around, they trust that you will also go back. So these are all important things that could add to your visa application success. The last one there is a logical statement of purpose. This is very important, especially for senior applicants, senior students, because even when you have shown all these proofs, sometimes they still don't want to give you a visa because your maybe your program does not tie in with what you are presently doing. Let me give an example. You are a teacher and you want to go to Canada to study, and you have applied for business administration. What's the relationship? The immigration officer wants to know, why are you not applying for a teaching qualification? Why are you not applying for maybe a master's in education or something within your field? Why are you going for business administration? That's where your logical statement of purpose comes in. So when you're writing your statement of purpose, you describe clearly how what you want to do now ties in with what you have been doing previously. For example, now I've been a teacher for like 25 years, and I want to go to Canada to study business administration, for example. Of course, it's not within my field, but in my statement of purpose, I could come up and say, yes, having been a teacher for so long and developed a passion for helping students and this and that, my long-term dream is to own my own school and be able to correct the things that I've seen as deficient in the education system that I've been part of for 2.5 decades. I want to be able to correct them. And the only way I can do that is starting my own institution. However, I believe I am going to be in need of understanding how businesses are run, how organizations function, because that has not been part of my training before. Therefore, I have decided to get a master's degree in business administration so that having learned the technical part of my work, now I can learn the business part of it. And when I come back from this trip, then I can start my own institution and run it using international understanding of business management that I've gotten from my education. And see, that's a logical statement of purpose. It makes sense to the immigration officer. So that's the kind of thing you are expected to also add to your application so that it will make sense. Top reasons for visa denials include insufficient proof of funds, poor tie to homeland, history of visa denial, illogical education plan, and your sponsor, your relationship with your sponsor. I've started history of visa denial because I don't want anyone to think that because you have been denied visa once, then you will not get it. No, people still get are same people who applied for the same visa 5 times, 6 times, and finally they got it. So don't be discouraged, but I will say don't mess around with your visa application except you are sure, because every denial adds to a stain on your visa history. And if you are going to any other nation in the world, maybe there won't be much problem. But if you are going to any of US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, it will speak, because these 5 countries are in a relationship where they share biometric information of every visa applicant with each other. So if you have gone to apply for US visa and you have been denied, UK is aware, Australia is aware, New Zealand is aware, Canada is aware. So be careful before you try. Be sure that this is going to work. Don't play around with your visa history. Okay, so now let's go on to tuition, scholarships, and funding. I know that's a big deal for many people. I'm going to start with this because we are all looking for cheap tuition. Everyone wants to go to school where it is cheap, but the truth of the matter is these things go together. If there are opportunities like you can work and study, you can get scholarship or other types of funding, you can graduate and stay back, it usually goes with more expenses in terms of tuition. Where it is cheap and you can have those kind of opportunities, you may have to study in the national language of that country. That means you might not be studying in English. So, and then in other places where you can study in English, then your post-graduation opportunities will be low, or there may be none. They may just be countries where you study and you get out after you study, you can't stay. Generally on tuition, this is the idea, because a lot of times, when I talk to parents, they tell me, please help us find a cheap school. How cheap your tuition is a function of your CGPA. As you can see there, when your CGPA is low, your tuition is high. As CGPA continues to get higher, tuition goes lower. That's the reason why it's very difficult. For example, you have a 2-2, and then you are looking for tuition that is very low, like 8,000, 9,000. It doesn't usually work, because many of those schools where visions are cheap are looking for high CGPA to offer you admission. So these are very important things to note. Also, on scholarships, this is an idea of government grants and scholarship aid per student in public and private four-year colleges. As you can see there, private colleges, they have more aid for students. And the truth is that their tuition is also higher. Their tuition is higher, but they also have scholarships and fundings and all that. So it depends on you. And generally on funding, this is the idea of, the primary source of funding for international students in the US. As you can see there, most students study on personal and family funds. For colleges or universities in the US to sponsor you, only about 17% of international students are getting those kind of funds. Foreign government or university funding, that scholarships, it's just about 7% of students. And those who are funding themselves from their employment, just another 7%. So as you can see there, almost 70% of international students will pay their own way through school by family support or personal effort. So scholarships are available, but as you can see there, only available for about 7%. And that 7% in most cases are the top 7% of students. Yes, and this is another big question that I get from time to time. Can I work and pay my tuition by myself? What's my answer to you? Yeah, it's a no and a yes at the same time. Why did I say that? It's a no because you are only permitted to work for 20 hours per week in most countries where you can work. So let's say, for example, you are studying in Canada, your tuition per annum is 12,000. That means per semester is 6,000. So you need 6,000 per semester. A semester is about 4 months. So if you break down 6,000 over 4 months, that's about $1,500 per month. Now, can you work for 20 hours and get $1,500 per month? If you are working 20 hours per week, 20 times 4 is 80 hours. 80 hours working at let's say $7 per week. Can you make $1,500? I don't think so. So that is the challenge over there. And many people will always say, I can just go, I just find a way and get over there. And when I get there, I'll take care of myself. I will work. It is important for you to plan ahead. Please don't jump to going into a strange nation where you have nobody, even if you have somebody. The truth of the matter is that this somebody that you know over there is also struggling to survive. People pay bills when they live abroad, and it is expensive. And when people work, they plan all of these things into it because there is no skipping anything. You can't skip power bill. You can't skip water bill. You can't skip internet bill. You can't speak sewerage bill. There are just so many bills that thinking that there is someone over there who could help may not work at the end of the day. And remember that the calculation we are even making on 80 hours per month of work at $7 per hour, we are not even putting the fact that you are going to eat and pay rent. We're not even putting all of that there. So when you put all of that in, you discover that that amount is really, really small. That's why I said, no, you can't. But it's also a yes, because depending on many factors, if you have good skills, you have skills that you can leverage on to make some income, then definitely you'll be able to. Let's say you have a handwork. I'll give an example. You are male or female, whichever. You are a hairdresser. You learned hairdressing before you left your country, or you learned barbering and all that. And then you get to this country where there are so many Nigerians, and you decide to offer them home service to make their hair. That is one of the things that delivers most money. I'll tell you that, because it's something that I experience all the time. As you can see, my hair is not made because I can't find anybody to make it for me where I am. Whenever I have someone who makes it, we pay through the nose just to make braids. So people are willing to pay for such things. Or you know how to sew. While you are at home, you have learned how to sew. I have not sewn a cloth in this country in the last 10 years that I've been living here. If I want to make anything, I send it home. So if I find someone who is going to make it here, by all means, I will. So if you plan well and you get a good skill before you leave home, then you can market that wherever you are, and nobody is going to tax you on that, because nobody will even know that you are making such, because it's you, it's your time. So you can do your 20 hours per week or 80 hours per month that is given to you officially, and in your spare time, you can also reach out to people who can use your service and then get paid from that. That is one of the things that I believe can help you. It is, people also do work that I would say is off the records, but I'm not going to be talking about that because I'm online. So yes, you can pay your tuition. No, you may not be able to pay your tuition, except you are very hardworking and you have made good plans before leaving home. If you didn't make good plans and you go out there and you have problems with paying your tuition and you decide to work more, two things are possible. Either you will be caught as working overtime and be branded as a student who didn't come to study but came to work, and your visa will not be renewed. Or you are going to work so much that you cannot pay attention to your study and you're going to have problems with your study. So these are all possibilities. So you need to plan well before you make a decision. And then I wanted to say a few things about tuition-free study, because this is another question that I get a lot. Tuition-free studies are only available in Europe, and they are mostly for EU citizens or EEA citizens. And you are not, except if you are. If you are not, if you are just a Nigerian, then this does not apply to you. The only countries that kind of offer tuition-free public universities to all students are Germany and Norway. Those are the only two countries where there is totally tuition-free public universities. And you have to study in the language. So if that's your plan, then go and learn Norwegian or German language. Start now. When you finish learning, you take the exam is like what you write for the English exam, like IELTS or TOEFL. You're going to write the German language equivalent of that. And if you get this at the right level, then you can apply to any of the public universities and you study for free. And yeah, like I said, it may require you studying international language. Okay, then more info on where to study is here. Check our past webinars, because last 3 webinars I spoke about studying in Malta, which gives you a lot of opportunities as well. It's one of the cheapest places where you can study in Europe. And the one after that, I spoke about the best and affordable countries that you can study in Africa. And after that, I discussed about, I think about 30 countries that you can study in Asia and the Americas. So if you watch this video on YouTube, you'll find out that, I'm not sure if it's yet on YouTube, or you find them on Facebook, on Arrows Education Facebook. They are there. More than 60 countries. I made, I think, in-depth explanation on each of these countries and what is involved, including the kind of passport you get if eventually you end up getting a passport in that country, how you can get the passport, at the average tuition, the opportunities you have when you are studying, whether you can go with your family, your extended family, or your immediate family, whether you can work while you are studying, when you graduate, if you can stay back. All of this is provided for about 60 different countries in those 2 webinars. So I will encourage you, take your time, explore, listen to them and see, because you may not need to go to Europe, to any of the big countries, to America, to Canada, Australia. You may not need to go to any of those, because there are so many opportunities out there in the world. Don't limit yourself. Okay, so now I'm talking about Arrows Education, what we do. Or first, I'll talk about Arrows. One, as by way of disclaimer, Arrows Education is not a scholarship awarding body or a visa issuing company. We are just a licensed education consultant or counselor. We represent about more than 500 universities, not only universities, so to say, educational institutions will be the appropriate word, because we cover secondary school, primary school, and as well as colleges and universities. So that's what Arrows Education is, because I think practically every week I get messages on WhatsApp. I mean my personal WhatsApp, and the same thing happened at the office end. Hello, Arrows, can you please help me with scholarship? No, we cannot help you with scholarship. We can help you with admission, and you can get scholarship after the admission. That's what we do. So the school usually will have scholarships, but they only offer them to students who have decided to study with them. So you cannot apply for those scholarships until after you have gotten an offer from the university. That's how it works in most cases. If you are looking for full scholarships, I'm going to announce one at the end of this, and you can always apply for that. So we are supporters of your dream. We are with you from the moment you start the dream until it becomes a reality. We provide free consultations, free consultations on study abroad in 26 countries for now, and still counting. We provide free support to any of our partner institutions. We cover more than 500 institutions, like I've said, and we provide services for all levels of education, elementary, high school, undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD. We are working at postdoc, maybe able to also provide support for people who are interested in postdoc. So I think, as I can see, the link has been shared there for the webinars that I just mentioned now. So these are contact information for Arrows Education. You can go to the website. I advise that you should actually visit the website, and then you'll see a lot of information that could be useful. When you get to the website, the very first tab, you're going to see all the countries. Some of the countries are there that you can read about each country and what opportunities are there. Instagram, I think we're also there, Facebook, YouTube, and that's the WhatsApp number that you can always use to contact us. So how does it work if you want to work with Arrows to go abroad? before I talk about how it works, I want to talk briefly about whether you need an agent or a counselor at all. Do you? Do you need an agent to get admission? Do you need a counselor to get admission? The answer is a very big and capital no. You don't need an agent. You can do it yourself. That's the truth of the matter. But what's the point? Why do you need to work with an organization like ours? One is because of several years of experience that we've had doing this, and so many cases that we've encountered in the course of doing it. That gives us, a look that is far more extensive than what you will have as an individual. The mistakes that you can make, we probably have made them several years back and have gotten over that and have learned to do it. And over time, we have also built a network that is extensive. I mean, over 500 institutions is not a joke. So it's something that you want to take advantage of. Apart from that, you may think you don't need guidance, but I assure you, everyone needs some guidance on program or course selection. Sometimes you think this is the best option, but because you didn't know, you went for that. So we are able to guide you on that because we are in the system all the time. Apart from that, we are working with more than 70 professors and consultants in various fields who are the people that handle these kind of things with us. And because they are from every kind of field you can imagine, they know what is going on in their field, they know the development that is up in their field. We consult with them from time to time, and that helps us to help our students. We support your application for admission. You don't have to do it yourself and make mistakes. We do it for you. We monitor the progress of the application. We interact directly with the university partners, with the university officials on your application. We make sure that the documentation is complete. Because we understand what each document is, which you may not. Sometimes they mention something and you think it is this, and you didn't know that it's something else. Because we are working with that every day, we know what that is. So we consult with them on delays, on denials. Sometimes we have turned denied applications to approvals because of the relationship that we built over time. So your chances of getting an offer increases, and there is zero wastage. On the zero wastage, I'm going to say something a little later on, because if you apply by yourself, for example, you just go online to the website of this institution, because you can do it. That's the truth. If you have all the documents that you need, you go to the website, you click, you apply, you upload your documents, you pay, and that is it. If your application is denied after evaluation, your money is gone. But because of our own relationship with the organizations that we represent, when you have finished providing all the documents that you need, we present it to the university, and then there is what is called the initial evaluation. If you are not going to qualify, they tell us. And so we don't file in with your money. We file into another university for you. So these are all advantages that you get when you work with a counselor. We also provide visa advisory, because that's one of the most important parts of going abroad. Now, with all of this, everything that we do is for free, as long as you are studying in a country that we cover and in a university that is on the list of our partners. So the point is, why won't you go for free service? Why will you want to make a mistake? So I decided to put together a few cases to let you see what some of the advantages in working with a counselor comes with. So this is one of the cases that we've had, and these are real cases. The only thing I've changed here is the name of the person, because I don't want to put somebody's name out there. So let me say a postgraduate student. He applied for a program, he is 100% qualified. His application was rejected because the department couldn't find a supervisor that was willing to take him on. But because he applied through us, we reached out to the university's admission team and told them, see, we are representing this student and it is not his fault that you are unable to give him an offer. It's your fault. So please return the application fee. And they said, okay, we will get back to you. The admission team went back to the faculty team to tell them, you are going to cause trouble here by not finding this person a supervisor. Please do that because we can't afford to return the application. Within the next, I think 2 days or 3 days, we received the offer letter for this person. If he had applied by himself, that would have been a loss because there's no way, there's nobody you can be talking to because the people we are talking to, students cannot talk to them because we are licensed by them. So we have this opportunity to have a one-on-one with the university. Another case is the case of Ola, who has a 3rd class, and he has worked for about 15 years in a particular field. The university considered his CGPA was too low, so they denied him admission for a master's program when he applied. We made a case for him. We asked him to send us his appointment letter and all that, and we made a case on his behalf to the university and told them he has experience. He might not have had the most fantastic CGPA, but he has this number of years of experience. What else do you want? So they deliberated, sent it to the faculty, discussed, and came back later, and finally they gave him an offer because we did that for him. There was also an application that was made to a Canadian university for DAISY. Before the final submission, university's admission team reviewed, they decided her chances of getting an offer was low. Because it was made through us, application fee was returned to us, and we used it to make a new application for her in another college where she was qualified. So that's, this is supposed to be case 4. Our Ejike, who is a Nigerian student who started his program online. While still in Nigeria during the pandemic, he started online because he couldn't travel to the country, his country of study. Because of, and around that period, his university upgraded the student platform and everything went haywire. So not only Ejike was affected, every other student that came in that semester was affected. So what we did was that we took it upon ourselves, our staff had to register their courses for them. Our staff had to log into their student account to register their courses for them because they couldn't do it from home. It was just impossible. In addition to that, when the borders were opened, by the time the borders were open, his visa document has already expired. So you couldn't travel. We had to move at our own cost, at our own stress and all that. We had to move to ensure that we request new visa documents for him from the university and sent it to him and did every other thing that needed to be done to make sure that he was able to travel to continue his study. So these are just a few of the many cases that I cannot continue to list that could also be an advantage for you. So 1,000,001 things can go wrong, 1,001 opportunities can open. For example, like there was a student that we processed admission for, and while we were processing it, we discovered that there was a scholarship, accommodation scholarship that was open. He was not aware, but because we were aware, we applied for him and he did not have to pay for his accommodation for 3 semesters. So these are all opportunities that you wouldn't get if you go it on your own. So, and unimaginable challenges can emerge: visa challenges, registration challenges, supervisor challenges, so many of them. Your case is just one out of several dissimilar cases that we have handled. And that's where experience comes in. You may not know what to do. You may not even know who to contact. So what does it cost to use a free service? I'll leave you with that question. And then this is something that I think is a lot of encouragement as well. Our visa approval success rate between 2016 and 2022 April with our team of consultants for Canada is about 61%, which is 3 times more success than what you have with other consultants. Australia, about 93% success. UK, more than 60% success. And Malaysia, about almost 100% success. So these are what you log into when you take advantage of AROS education services. And when visa has issues, I think I should let you know that if anybody is promising you 100% visa success, they are lying to you. They want to scam you. There is only one person in the world, anywhere, that can promise you successful visa. That is the ambassador, the high commissioner, because he's the only one who approves the visa at the end of the day. If for no reason he decides, even though you are 99.9% qualified, and he just feel, I'm not giving this person a visa, you cannot get it, and you cannot appeal. It's written there on every visa document that you cannot appeal this because you can't contend it. It is not within your power to contend. Okay, so with all this free service, what do we ask from you? Justify the time of our staff and our consultants. Don't waste their time. You want to ask a question, please ask simply. And if you need more information, just go to YouTube, go to Facebook, check the videos, because we do this all the time. So practically any question you may want to ask is already addressed in one of the videos. So just go there, check, listen to the videos rather than just asking. And then if you are going to have, you need to ask personal questions, you are ready to start, then you have to show seriousness by making your university processing fee deposit. After that, the staff will be willing and ready to answer all your questions. But when you are not making any commitment, it's like a waste of precious time. So please don't do it. The service is totally free. So don't waste our staff and consultant time. Then get your basics ready. Your transcript, your international passport, please. It doesn't make sense after you have spoken with someone for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you say, I don't have my transcript. Please go and get your transcript first and get your international passport ready. That is the very first thing that you need. Without your international passport, you cannot apply to study abroad. Check out our videos and blogs, like I said, and then complete our application form. AROS, please help us to put the link to the application form in the chat box, please. So you are going to see the link there. It's on the website. If you also go to the website on the admissions tab, if you click on it, you will see the form there. Just fill the form, upload all your documents. In the course of filling the form and uploading your documents, you will know what documents you need, which ones you already have, which ones you don't have. Then you'll be able to make arrangements to get them. That will be very important, so that by the time we are discussing with you, you are ready. And so working with AROS, how it works, this is it. Like I said, visit the website or use the link that is going to be shared in the chat box now. Complete the application form, upload your certificates, your transcript, and your international passport and other documents that you will see there. Then after that, contact AROS on WhatsApp and then pay your institutional application fee deposit. I will explain that later on. Choose your institution, and then AROS will apply for you. You get your offer, you accept the offer and pay the tuition deposit if it is applicable. Not every university asks for tuition deposit, some don't. Then you apply for your visa after that, and then you get your approval and travel to your country of study. It's as simple as that. It's a 10-step thing, or even less than that. So when I said pay your institution application fee deposit, what we do to make sure that people are not taking our staff for granted and wasting their precious time is that if you actually have the intention of going abroad, you're going to pay application fee to the university. We are not asking you to pay us, but you're going to pay to the university. And the university application fee ranges between $75 and say $250. So what we are saying is pay your $75 minimum. Even if it's $50, you can pay between $50 and $75, pay first. And then you can start your discussion and talk about whatever you want to talk about. If at the end of the day you choose a university whose application fee is $100, what it means is that you have already paid 75. You only need to top up with 25. You have already paid 50. You only need to top up with 50 for your application to be submitted, because the money is paid to the university is not for us. You only pay it to us so that we can pay to the university when we are sending in your application. So that is a way for you to show your seriousness and show that you are really committed to submitting an application, rather than spending time with the staff and at the end of the day, you are not actually ready to do anything. So if what you need is general information, attend our webinars, they are all free, or go to YouTube, watch the videos, go to Facebook, watch the videos, and that will definitely answer most of the questions that you have. There is an open scholarship presently, like I mentioned before. The American University has a full scholarship for emerging leaders that is on right now. It's open till I think 15th of December this year. It's for studying next year. So if you're qualified, you can apply for this scholarship. Anybody from any country is qualified, and I think almost all disciplines are covered. If you are using the scholarship, you have to study at the American University in Washington, D.C. So that's where the scholarship is. There are many terms and conditions, so you can just go online and search for it. American University Full Scholarship for Emerging Leaders. You will find it and you can apply.